What would you do if your teenage son decided that he was more interested in lip gloss than football? Well, would you support him if he wanted to change from a schoolboy into a schoolgirl? Well, joining me now from Dallas, Texas, is Rochelle Evans and her mum, Lenora. Rochelle and Lenora, lovely to see you. You look absolutely beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. And I just wonder, Rochelle, you're what age are you now?
16.
You're 16 now. But when you were a very, very young age, and you were born as a boy, but when you were very, very young, you knew that something was wrong and you wanted to be a girl.
Yes, ma'am.
You wanted to do that. That was the whole thing. I suppose growing up, you must have felt very isolated, because there wouldn't be many other people or any other people that you could really talk to about it.
I felt like it was like I was watching myself live my own life, but it wasn't like I was in my own skin. I didn't feel comfortable with myself.
Right. So you knew in your heart that there'd been some kind of mistake and you really should have been a girl. But that's all very well to say that, but you have to live it, and that's the difficult thing, isn't it? And you were very, very young when you just decided that you were going to live as a girl.
Yes, ma'am, I was.
So how did that work, Rochelle? What did you do?
Well, I started doing some research to kind of verify my feelings, you know, kind of say, okay, well, this is how I'm feeling. I really wanted to find a name, put a name on it, you know, so I can label myself as who I am. And I started doing some research on the internet and came across the word transgendered. Well, I researched more about the word and found out that it meant, you know, you have feelings of the other sex. However, you were born one sex, however you want to live your life the other. So I kind of decided, you know, well, you know, I'm sharing the same feelings that other transgender people are. So I kind of, you know, did my own research, talked to my mom about it, talked to my stepdad about it, and, you know, verified my feelings. And from there, I just kind of slowly progressed into a female, and now I am Rochelle.
Well, that must have been, that's fantastic, and you seem very, very sort of secure in what you're doing. You seem very mature as well, and the fact that you had your parents' support must have been extraordinary, because that doesn't always happen as well. But when you were going to school and you were no longer Rodney, you were Rochelle going to school, what about teachers, what about fellow pupils? You know, that must have been quite difficult for you, I would imagine.
It was. The principals, my vice principal, Miss Hall, she gave me so much grief about it because she couldn't understand why a boy wanted to be a girl. And I tried my hardest to educate her in the most respectful way I could, and she just still didn't understand. And she started to give me grief with my school, which she would pull me out of classes, tell me to report to in-house, and tell me that I needed to fix my dress, that you know, that boys could not change my clothes, basically, that boys could not dress like girls in school, and that she couldn't allow that because it was a disruption to the school environment. However, it was never a disruption until she made it one.
Right, so you got more support from people. And obviously, Lenora, you've been incredibly supportive to your now daughter. You've been incredibly supportive towards her. And how difficult has that been, or how did you always know? Because I think sometimes mums do know.
I've known since Rochelle was tiny. Matter of fact, I used to teach at a barber college, and every student that I've ever had always said, there's something about Rochelle, about what was Rodney then. Everybody's like, Rodney, there's something there. And I always tell everybody, oh, he's just sensitive. And so that was always my key thing. He's just sensitive. But, you know, as time went on, I mean, I knew Rochelle has always had these feminine features. She's always been feminine. I mean, even had to walk at 5 years old. And she's just always been this way. And I knew the day was coming. I knew it was. And I love her.
Well, she looks stunning. I mean, we're seeing some beautiful photographs of her, and she's a very, very lovely girl, but clearly not had the full operation yet, not had the full sex change yet. Is that something that will inevitably happen? Because you are still very young, you're only 16. When can that legally happen? How does it work out?
Legally, I can do it at the age of 18. However, I want to, you know, finish school, go on to college, and better my career, and then at a stable at a stable life, I could, you know, look more into a sex change.
Right, so that's something that will happen when you're good and ready.
Yes.
Yeah, when you're ready to do so. Okay, well, listen, stay with us, because joining me on the sofa now, we've got psychotherapist Michelle Bridgman. Michelle, listening to that, because you've been through it yourself, listening to that, how do you feel? She seems very, very, you know,
I was struck by how centred she is with it, which is really good to see. And she's got a mature attitude towards it. You know, when she said that she wants to take her time and explore it, and I think people ought to be encouraged to have that support to do it, just, you know, because once surgery happens, of course, it's irreversible.
Indeed, and that's the thing. And at 18, you know, it's. Although, do you think that people always know? I mean, you know, Rochelle was saying, and Lenora, her mother, was saying that she always knew. Well,
everyone's different, but her story is classic, really. You know, when people know from an early age and are totally convinced. But it depends on the support they got. I mean, Rochelle's very lucky. She's got a wonderful mother, by the sound of it.
That's quite unusual, isn't it?
And that's fantastic, because very often people are just go into a very isolated place. And that's really tough if that happens.
No, for sure. But she seems, like I say, she seems to be knowing exactly what she's doing, that's for sure. People get all kind of, I don't know, but people sometimes don't understand this. They don't, and there still is a lot of discrimination. Do you think things like, for example, we've got this storyline in Coronation Street right now with Hayley. And Hayley is one of the best loved characters on the street because she's Hayley, you know, who happens to have once been a man. Do you think that helps? Does it actually help in any way?
I think it does, because with that character, they've normalised it, haven't they, really? And I think that's useful. And awareness is always a big help, because people now, for Rochelle, she's in an age when everybody is familiar with it, even if they don't understand it.
Right.
Whereas 20, 25 years ago, people were looked on as being something really freakish, you know, as though it was really bizarre. So that's really helpful. So I think characters like that, I think, are really helpful, you know, for awareness.
Now, there probably will be people watching today who either feel that, you know, the same as Rochelle, or have gone through something similar, or maybe their friend has. What's the best thing to do? I mean, is it slowly? What should they do? What's the first step?
Well, I think really the isolation is a big factor very often.
Right.
So to get support, I think, is vital. And obviously if you've got family support, that's great.
Yeah.
But even if one's not sure about having treatment or what they want to do, you know, to see a good counsellor or a good therapist is invaluable, really, to start to explore it. What does it really mean, you know? What does it actually mean to say, well, I feel like a man or a woman? You know, instinctively you just know, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
So for somebody who feels that their body is out of kilter with their minds, it's really useful, I think, to explore it. And people have different levels of certainty. I mean, Rochelle there seems to be really, you know, sure, and she's always known. Not always the case. So,
and she'll find it easier, I think, because I know it shouldn't be like this, but because she looks so beautiful, it's going to be easier for her, isn't it?
Well, and the younger people do it, the easier it is, actually. That's just a fact, especially for male to female, because, you know, the effects of testosterone and the masculinisation haven't happened yet.
Right. Well, that makes sense. Of course it does. Was it difficult for you when you went through it? Was it tougher for you?
Well, it was a long time ago, so, you know, it was very, very different. But nowadays, I mean, there is a lot more support. And, I mean, the number of people we never really know. We estimate that there are about 5,000 people in the country who are actually sort of on the radar. Right. But then probably 4, 5, 6 times that who aren't, because sometimes people have private treatment and so on. And we were quite shocked. I do some work with a charity called the Gender Trust, and we launched the National Helpline 6 or 8 weeks ago. And we thought we'd get sort of 25, 30 calls a week, and in the first 6 weeks it was something like 550.
Wow, that's a lot, isn't it?
So that tells you that there's a lot of pain out there, really.
Absolutely. I mean, it must be hellish.
And not just for the individual, but for the parents and brothers, sisters, work colleagues, even if they're adults.
Yeah, no, of course, it's a difficult one. Well, we'll put all the details of that in our website as well, because I know that people will want to do that. Michelle, it's great to see you. Really good to see you. Thank you very much, Dave, for coming in.
And good luck, Rochelle.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope all works out for her. Thank you.